Welcome back to the first episode of Crispy Skin Whole Roasted Chicken of the Year. Today, I thought we'd explore two techniques that worked really well last year: potato starch rinsing and Katsuobushi dry brining, to see if they could help us out with the crispy skin, starting with the potato starch. And the reason why we're using the starch rinsing is precisely because of step 2, the Katsuobushi dry brining. We want to give the skin a deep cleanse, almost a slight exfoliation to expose all the beautiful pores for the Katsuobushi's effect to really kick in. This is something we did last year with our miso black cod before the miso marinade, which turned out wonderfully. And what we do is we're simply rubbing a layer of starch. We're using potato starch, but you can use any starch. Given the absorption capabilities, the starch would bind with the surface protein, any surface impurities, and if we apply on the inside of the bird, the surface myoglobin that could sometimes give you the undesirable smell sometimes people associate with poultry. Perfect, and we give the starch 3, 4, 5 minutes to do its magic. We then rinse the bird until the water runs completely clear and dry it as much as we can. Now we have a very clean bird. As usual, we salt generously. This time we're going up to 1% instead of the usual 0.6. Factoring in the Katsuobushi would absorb some of the salt and really work the salt in. Inside out, of course. And besides drying the surface for the crispy skin, the salt will also break down the protein fibers, making the chicken juicier and more tender. Now, one technique that Sholan demonstrated last year of fish storage was to stuff the belly of the fish before rolling to absorb the excess moisture. And I thought we also take a page out of that. Simply kitchen towel inside the bird. And now the Katsuobushi. Dried, shaved, smoked skipjack tuna. We used it in both our steak and barbecue recipes, and they worked like a charm. But we did it for the umami, and to a lesser extent, for the smokiness on the surface. A very happy accidental byproduct was when we did remove the Katsuobushi before cooking. During cooking, the tiny bits that stayed with the steak burnt so beautifully that it improved the crust dramatically. Yes, it'll make the chicken tastier, but we're also hoping this will help us make the skin crispier. And of course, the water absorption capabilities would give us a very dry surface. And we all know surface moisture is the #1 enemy to good browning. It seems difficult in the beginning, but once the salt draws out some of the moisture, they will stick to the chicken much better. And for that to happen effectively, we first cling film the bird. I know it's counterintuitive. We're trapping in moisture initially to better remove surface moisture later. Doesn't have to be too tight. Cling film for the first day, and we take it off for the next 2 days. I'll see you then. After 3 days in the fridge, after the first day, I removed the cling film and made sure we have enough Katsuobushi everywhere. We use a total about 40 grams of Katsuobushi. So now, we're ready. Very carefully, remove the Katsuobushi with the back of a knife. I mean, the chicken practically had a deep cleanse followed by a mask. If that doesn't give you good skin, I don't know what will. And the tiny bits of Katsuobushi, we keep them because both for our steak recipe and for our indoor barbecue, the burned bits gave us a lot of smokiness and helped the crust formation of our brisket. You can hear how dry the skin is just from the sound of the knife. Of course, kitchen towel, which absorbed a ton of moisture, comes out, clean tray, and for this one, we'll simply truss the bird for some even cooking. Tuck in the wingtips, this will stretch the skin, the breast as well, and today we use a V-rack. Just to isolate the effect of the Katsuobushi and the potato starch, I'm not even going to oil the chicken. So this thing, hot oven, 240 Celsius, the moment the breast hits 60, it comes out. All right, let's go. I must say, at this point, I didn't see any difference between this and a dry brine chicken, texture-wise, at least. All right, not bad in certain parts. Nice and moist, thanks to the salt. Not sure we improved the skin compared to a dry brine bird, but the taste is incredible. I suppose it has a good personality. So the search continues.